Imagine what it's like to wake up one morning believing you may never walk again. Or feeling as though you will never have the capabilities of those around you. George Teal, Allison Puke, and Harris White all lived that moment.
4, 5, good. Keep going, Harris. Keep pushing.
And then they lived these moments.
You my good boy. You my good boy.
To run free, the sun shining, the leaves green, life ahead of you. It is so easy to take it all for granted. With every step, with every bead of sweat pouring down her face, Allison Puke most certainly does not take running for granted. This is Allison, just 1 year earlier.
What motivates me is just thinking, oh gosh, I could hardly stand up out of a wheelchair, or let alone move one leg without assistance. So I've come a long way.
1 year into her college experience, Allison began to notice a strange sensation in her back. The sensation turned to pain. The pain turned to paralysis. Allison was suffering from the devastating effects of an illness that caused inflammation around her spine, leaving her unable to walk, unable to even stand on her own.
When I was in a wheelchair, I didn't think I was ever gonna walk, let alone be able to run again.
Allison came to Sheltering Arms in 2010 with a tragic outlook. Not even 20, a bright future was darkened by the possibility of never being able to walk again.
She had acute onset of lower extremity weakness, and her body was basically attacking her spinal cord. Her lesion was in the mid-thoracic part of her spine, so her lower extremities were involved, and her strength was absent in the lower extremities. Paralysis, complete paralysis.
Worst nightmare of any parent is something to happen to their child, so devastating as they become paralyzed. I mean, it's horrible. It was a horrific feeling. It was torturous in that you don't want them to feel that. You want to take that pain, you want to take that disability away and take it on yourself. It was that horrific.
Based on what Pat Pugh was told, she brought Allison to Sheltering Arms, believing that she had to learn how to navigate life in a wheelchair. Allison had other ideas. She told the treatment team she was determined to walk again. Physical therapist Amber Devers and the team of physicians, nurses, physical and occupational therapists devised a strategy to help Allison find her core central strength and then work the problem over and over and over.
When you're sitting on this now, seems easy for you to do your arms. Do you think back to how tough it used to be?
I do. I used to refer myself as Gumby because, I mean, I really couldn't move. I was even scared. Amber would say to me, all right, shift your weight. And I was like, well, how do I do that? Because shifting your weight was so ordinary to me. And then when I tried to do it and I couldn't because I couldn't really move, you forget those things, you know, and it's just hard to cope with, you know, taking like such an easy little thing as shifting your weight a little bit, or even just getting on a ball or lifting your arms. You know, now I can do it easier, and that's helped me run even better because I'm able to strengthen my core so much and my legs trying to keep balance, so it really worked.
Every day, Amber and the team could measure progress. They used every method their decades of training could find and mixed it with a load of empathy.
I used to just tell everyone that, you know, she could have been a complete brat. Like, everyone would have understood, you know, she had gone through a lot of stuff, and if she was cranky, like, you know, we would get it, and, you know, we'd still work her, like, as hard as we could, but we, you know, we'd totally get it. But she wasn't. She was always, like, happy. She wanted to have fun. You know, she's, like, looking like, what's today? What's next? You know, she was really pushing us a lot of the time, because it was like, what can I do now? What can I do now? Look how much I can move my leg. What can we do today? You know, so she was really keeping us on our toes for sure, for, like, you know, planning the treatments.
As Amber and Allison worked closely together day after day, Amber began to tailor her approach in a way that helped Allison find the power to overcome her disability.
The therapy was grueling at times. It was hard to even watch because you have a child who's suspended from the air trying to move her legs, and she has a smile on her face, and all I could think of was, oh my God, I could almost cry because of that. The emotion was terrific. It's just on and on and on, and so deep that you just hard to imagine, because you think she's going to do it. She's going to walk out of here game because she's got the willpower and she's got the people behind her to do it.
Month after month, Allison started to relearn how to stand up on her own, how to move her legs in forward progression, how to walk. And then 1 year after first entering Sheltering Arms, Allison learned how to run.
She's come a tremendous way, being in a wheelchair a year ago, and now having last fall run a 5K, and today running around the park, and just happy because she's running, she's walking, she's up and going.
What I went through, I mean, I do feel like there's a newfound sense of freedom, because being in a wheelchair, you feel so confined, and now I'm able to walk again and be independent. I don't have to rely on family members to get up out of the bed, and I can move, and that's the most important thing. And I overcame all odds of what doctors thought in the beginning, and it's a miracle.
41-year-old here now for, this is 53 days after hypoxic brain injury.
This successful medical and therapeutic strategy was truly a team effort.
Her ability to use her speech strategies for clear speech is what has changed.
In fact, every day at Sheltering Arms, a team of physicians, nurses, occupational and physical therapists gather to develop an ongoing strategy for each of their patients. Each patient is different, and every treatment plan is customized and updated as patients make strides through stages of recovery.
This is really the very best setting in healthcare to be able to take people who've had very difficult things happen to them and help to put those pieces back together, help them find the power to overcome. And we do that in a really organized way that's comprehensive from top to bottom.
Following these meetings, the team travels throughout the Sheltering Arms Hospital, located on the campus of Memorial Regional Medical Center in Hanover County.
It's really helpful for the patient and for us to get on the same page with each other. It makes me see things differently sometimes, and make me change, the medication management. I think it really is the team effect that, we're all on the same page and helping the patient to get home safely.
So to sum up everything, Ms. Davis, we're going to be working on increasing your independence with walking.
The patient themselves, they are the critical piece of the team, and our round system is set up so that we deliver information and ask for their input on how is the team doing all together, and they're the ones that would know that best. So we provide really a type of care here that is focused exclusively on the patient and their needs.
I'm Celeste. I'm the recreational therapist, and I'll be working with you on getting back to swinging the golf club, doing some fishing, and making any adaptations you might need to help you compensate for the right arm, and also getting you back out into the community before you go home, taking an outing.
On this day of rounds, the staff checks in on a new patient who has found himself shocked at his condition. George Teal, 45 and a tough-as-nails landscaper, lay in bed unable to walk, use his right hand, and barely able to get out the words he wants to say. George has just suffered a stroke.
Weren't able to move your right arm and your
couldn't-
right foot.
I couldn't do nothing.
So we're really pleased with your progress.
George is about to embark on the challenge of his life. In order to regain his ability to work and live a normal life, he must relearn how to use his right hand. He must train his brain to use his legs to walk. And he must learn how to make sure that what he wants to say can be heard and understood.
But when you lose it, you know, and when you try to get it back, you know, that's what really hurts, you know. And then I guess it just depends on how bad you want it.
George's new life challenge coincides with a remarkable new technological advancement Sheltering Arms is bringing to physical therapy. The team at Sheltering Arms is about to take George Teal for a pioneering walk into the future.
Try to relax that right arm. Feel harder right now? Yep. All right, I'm going to give you some help back with
This is the iWalk Recovery Center, a highly sophisticated array of technology that gets the legs moving, teaches patients how to balance, work their muscles, and walk again. This technology, the ZeroG and the LocalMat Pro, allows for the repetition of movement in a patient's legs that have been disabled from strokes and other ailments and injuries.
What we've done is we've really gone to great lengths to make sure that we have the very best technology. We want to make sure that we give our therapists the best tools so they can really provide not just good therapy or even great therapy, but really leading edge therapy, the type of therapy that you would expect at, you know, a top 5 hospital in the country. And so we wanted to bring that to the Richmond area.
The repetition creates 2 outcomes. First, the restoration of muscle function in the affected areas of the body through exercises designed to build strength. Secondly, recent advances in science have revealed that repetition actually allows the brain to heal damage from strokes and other neurological injuries that in turn impair motor function, like writing, driving, or walking. Scientists now believe this pioneering method is actually helping the body create new pathways for nerves to connect to parts of the body, restoring functionality, and giving patients the power to overcome their disabilities.
And those repetitions and that intensity are what help to make the body's nervous system change its physical makeup. So literally we're causing new pathways to be formed among the cells in the brain so that the tissue that's damaged we know won't regrow, but we're changing the pathways, changing the highways that the information follows in the brain, and so you see an improvement in the patient's function. So we call that neuroplasticity, and we're looking at technologies to help that happen in the case of a stroke survivor.
For several years, this kind of work was done through innovative but non-technological approaches that required quite a few people supporting each patient. This is how Allison Puke was able to achieve her goal of running again.
We're going to put the harness on you.
George's path to recovery will be achieved with the assistance of the ZeroG, the world's most advanced bodyweight support system for overground walking. The ZeroG allows patients to move through a room using motion that had been difficult or even impossible. The ZeroG also enhances a patient's ability to balance. George is also being fitted with the BioNess, a device that sends an electrical pulse to his leg, which helps to lift it as he attempts to take a step. It's a tense moment. George Teal begins his long climb up the mountain of recovery.
Once they harnessed me up and they strapped me in, and I was thinking, oh boy, you know, here we go. You know, watch me dangle like a puppet on a string.
George is determined. His team is ready. The technology is nothing less than extraordinary. And then it's time for those first steps. While George takes those first steps on his journey toward recovery, Allison looks on in amazement at this innovation in technology.
This experience he's gonna have, he'll never forget, and the smile on his face is priceless. I mean, it looks to me like he didn't think would come this far so quickly.
The ZeroG represents a significant advancement in the practice of physical and occupational therapy. Part of Sheltering Arms iWalk Recovery Center, the ZeroG is helping patients find the freedom and independence that comes with being able to walk again. Patients are learning the sensation of balance and forward movement.
The ZeroG really represents the type of tool that I had wanted starting about a decade ago. It allows for the patient to experience normal walking in free space, which is really sort of a revolutionary concept. It keeps them safe, it provides body weight uptake, so it actually makes the physical burden of the task that you want them to do easier, so that you can really begin to uncover function. So you were seeing the therapist was able to uncover the function that was really sort of dormant. He's not able to do that without the type of assistance that the ZeroG provided. And so she's able to scale or grade the task to the perfect level of difficulty so that he can succeed, so that his nervous system can learn, and doing that all the while the machine is keeping him safe, so that if he were to experience a fall, the machine will arrest his descent to the floor.
The great thing about the ZeroG is that it takes a little bit of body weight away from the patient, so with the body weight support, Linda's able to really focus on her right leg during walking and really think about the gait mechanics and not have to worry about holding herself up.
Oh, that was neat. I like that.
How did it help you?
Well, it helps you because you're not afraid. You're not going to hit the ground, and it gives you the freedom to really work hard. And I don't have to worry about holding the cane or anything.
Right now you're supporting about half of your body weight. Okay, so that's really good.
Just a few steps away from the ZeroG, patients are finding new strength and capabilities from the Locomat Pro. This elegant and highly sophisticated technology gets the legs moving, even for those who may not be able to stand or walk on their own. The virtual environment creates the sensation of forward motion.
Just as an example, you may have someone who can walk 5 feet without a device like the Locomat. All of a sudden you put them on the Locomat and they're able to walk a quarter mile or a half a mile. And so the number of repetitions that the nervous system is getting is it's orders of magnitude better. And the recovery that we see is often orders of magnitude better.
The staff at Sheltering Arms are credentialed in many of the therapeutic specialties, whether it be neurological, orthopedic, certain types of equipment that run the gamut of the breadth of things that we provide. And I think that's one of the things that makes Sheltering Arms special, because when you come here, not only do you get clinicians that have advanced credentials, but they may have an advanced credential in the very disability that you're living with.
When you first came in, do you remember picking these goals that you wanted to work on with occupational therapy?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think that you've made a lot of gains?
I think that I've surpassed that.
Yeah.
100%.
I think so.
George's next challenge is finding the use of his right hand. Following his stroke, he could barely lift it onto the table. But occupational therapist Rachel Southern works with George once again on repetitive motion exercises.
3 more.
Rachel uses the Bioness to send an electrical pulse to his hand to enhance movement.
Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Bioness, it's got a lot of E-stem, so it'll help the hand open and then close, so it's got the extensors and the flexors. So we were having trouble opening before, so we put it on, and he was really able to extend his fingers and open the hand all the way. So he would reach out when it was extending to open something, and then the flexors would kick in and the E-stem, so he would start to grab, and then we would bring it over and release. Good. Nice job.
Look like $1 million.
For 2 weeks following his stroke, George and the team at Sheltering Arms work hard to strengthen his capabilities. Day by day, George regains use of his ability to speak, use his legs, and his hand.
But I want to show you something, okay?
Did you do that a week ago?
No.
From a hospital bed to the ZeroG, to the backyard, to the road ahead, George Teal worked hard. Groundbreaking technology helped him to heal, and the therapists, doctors, and nurses at Sheltering Arms applied their knowledge and compassion to give George a second chance at a normal life.
They have magic, you know, and their magic is you can do it.
I think that's part of the magic at Sheltering Arms. It's when the therapists and nurses really empathize with the patients, and that's all comes together and helps the patients to overcome their disabilities.
If you really want a sensational experience, sometimes you have to get up real early. Long before the summer sun pounds the earth, a group of teenagers and coaches from River City Crew prepare to take a sensational ride through the James River. It is almost impossible for any observer to notice that one of these athletes has cerebral palsy, an umbrella of disorders that can affect brain and nervous system functions, including movement. But there he goes, off into the water and on his way. Meet Harris White, a young man who is unafraid to take on challenges that would be daunting to most teenagers. Diagnosed with cerebral palsy at 4, Harris has grown up understanding that he will always have a difficult time keeping up athletically with kids his age.
There you go. Keep those knees going, Harris.
My right leg is a little bit weaker than my left leg, so most sports are very much strong on the legs, so I can't perform as efficiently as other kids that don't have my disabilities.
Well, it was interesting because for a long time, no one would say the term cerebral palsy to us. They just said, oh, he has a tight Achilles tendon. When he gets bigger, we'll lengthen it. And it was finally a neurosurgeon that we consulted just to have him see a neurologist that said, oh yeah, he has diplegic cerebral palsy. And he must have been 4 maybe at that point. And he'd had issues since he was 1.5, 2.
Harris White refuses to give in to those obstacles. He spends many of his days at Acceleration Richmond, working with a team that includes exercise physiologist Danny Clifford.
Push those knees up. All right, let's do 10 more jumps on each leg.
Danny has Harris performing exercises designed to help him overcome the symptoms of his cerebral palsy.
As strong as you can. Biggest thing we're working on as far as is running mechanics. And one thing the running mechanics can do is also incorporate some strengthening of specific muscle groups in the legs, which is part of the reason why we work on that with Harris. And he's a kid, so running is something that happens all the time when you're younger. So running efficiently and properly can help strengthen the leg, help use it more functionally, through his running and through his activities that he does, that are heavy on the legs, which is most sports. 20 seconds, Harris. Stay on the toes. Use feet to push those knees up. Strong feet here. Strong feet, Harris.
Every exercise Harris performs is monitored by software that can measure his progress in the most detailed and minute manner. This process helps his exercise therapists devise routines that will be most effective at giving his legs the right kind of strength in the right places to fight off the effects of his condition.
We can test within their athlete information management system. This 3PQ ties up to this plyo press. What it's checking is an athlete's power quotient. So what we can do is check right leg versus left leg, see if there's any discrepancies. Both legs we can test. So we can see what is their power over time, what is their peak index, How long can they maximize that force? Again, depending on what sport they play, it may vary with every single person that comes in here, how we handle them. So these individual test results allow us to train each athlete, even if there's 3, 4 of them in at a time, each one is getting trained individually to work on their weaknesses to maximize their athletic performance.
He has always, from the minute he was born, pushed himself, and he doesn't want to do anything less than any other kid his age. He wants to be just like them. And so sometimes he gets frustrated with himself, but it's what drives him to keep going, and he never says die.
And then there's the payoff. Harris White, born with a disability, supported by a loving family, and the challenging customized workouts and careful analysis of the Sheltering Arms team, has earned his way to zip through the James River with his teammates. There is never an easy answer or an easy path toward overcoming disabilities. Everyone involved knows that, especially patients who are fighting the real fight, the personal fight. They hold the key to recovery. All the technology, all the compassion and expertise can only support someone who is willing to take on the challenge. Watching these patients fight these fights is what drives every member of the Sheltering Arms team.
We develop a relationship. Our therapists, our doctors are able to develop a relationship with patients, and that relationship is developed because I think the clinicians, the nurses share in the pain and the grief that patients are experiencing and understand it. But not only do they understand it, but they've been through it themselves and have seen patients come along and really jump the chasm of disability to regain function. They befriend the patients, and I think empathize with them and share in their pain and as well as their successes.
When I could first move my first toe, it was like the best news in the entire world. They told everybody, everyone came in my room, they were so excited and supportive of me, and that's what really meant a lot to me, and that's what is Sheltering Arms to me.